Okay, so hello everyone, this is Akshay here, and let us continue our GFG POTD streak. So from today onwards, we will have a little change in our tradition on how to discuss the question, right? So let us first read the question. Let us follow along. So we have been given an array of n integers. We need to write a function that returns true if there is a triplet ABC. So triplet ABC is nothing but based on the Pythagorean theorem, that is a square plus b square should be equals to c square. For this test case 3, 2, 4, 5, 6 and 5, you can clearly see there is a triplet existing here with a and b value as 3 and 4. If you square it, it would be 9 plus 16, which gives 25, and 25 is the square of 5, which is also present here. So we will say return true. Else, if the triplet is not present in the given array, then we have to say no. Okay. So first of all, we will discuss all the approaches in a very short span of time, because I think there are multiple audiences here or students who are starting from the beginning, and someone who is in middle, and somebody is already a pro, right? So we will discuss all the methods, and it will give you hints for those who can code by themselves, like they are at their point of learning, so they can take those hints and continue with the approaches with the code by themselves, right? तो ये उनको हेल्प करेगा यार ग्रो करने में. जब ये चीज़ हो जाएगी, then we will see method 1, method 2, method 3, method 4, all the possible approaches in very deep and detailed manner. Method 1 तो बहुत simple है यार. We will just form all the possible triplets, right? So we will need a nested for loop which will be running 3 times, so it is O of NQ. Method 2 is कि instead of forming the triplets, we'll form all possible pairs. Like we will run the nested for loop for finding a square and b square, but for c square we will store the squares of all the numbers in the map, right? And we will check if that c square is present in the map or not in O of 1. So definitely O of n will be the space complexity, and O of n square would be the time complexity to form all the possible pairs. So I hope you are with me till this point. Let us continue with the next approaches as well. Once we are done, then we will see how the things are running. Method 3 is threesome, right? Threesome कैसे काम करेगा यहाँ पे? आप एक काम करो, आप एक array बनाओ, या फिर same array में store the squares of the elements, right? Sort it, because if you want to now threesome is a very standard question, right? If you're done this question, again I'm saying we are discussing this because somebody must have done this question, right? तो उनको मैं हिंट दे देता हूँ. आप ये अप्रोचेस देख के वीडियो पॉज करके खुद से ट्राई कर सकते हो, राइट? तो आपके लिए वो लर्निंग कर्व जरूरी अच्छा होगा, नेसेसरी होगा, राइट? इंस्टेड ऑफ वॉचिंग ऑल द होल वीडियो. ठीक है, तो सॉर्ट करो, अप्लाई थ्रीसम करो. सो सॉर्टिंग विल टेक यू n log n, and then applying threesome will give you 2 pointer, that is n square. So O of n square would be your time complexity, and O of 1 will be your space complexity, right? There is one last method 4, where you need to store the squares of all the elements in a frequency array, right? So storing the squares of all elements, and definitely वो जो frequency array को आपको जो maximum element है उसका जो square होगा, उतनी बड़ी आपको array बनाना पड़ेगा, उतना बड़ा आपको array बनाना पड़ेगा. Then you need to have 2 loops, nested for loop. The first for loop will be responsible for finding the possible a. The second for loop, a square, not a. The second for loop will be responsible for finding b square. Once you are done with this, you can just check. You can evaluate c square, and you can check if it is present in O of 1 in this frequency array, because array indexing O of 1 में काम करती है. तो ये आपका टाइम स्टे हो जाएगा n plus maximum of the elements of square. And since we are using a frequency array, तो आप max of a of I square. ठीक है, तो already we have 4 minutes ahead. Now अब यहाँ शुरू करते हैं यार, शुरुआत से वीडियो को. ठीक है, ठीक है. ऑल पॉसिबल ट्रिपलेट्स यार, तो इसके लिए मेरे को कुछ बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, डायरेक्ट कोड पे चलते हैं, राइट? सो दैट्स द कोड. वी हैव अ 3 फॉर लूप दैट इज running from 0 to n, then j running from I plus 1 to n, k running from j plus 1 to n, right? हमने a निकाल लिया, b निकाल लिया, c निकाल लिया. there is nothing but we are squaring the elements, right? now हमने चेक कर लिया a equals to b plus c और the vice versa, all the possibilities. ये क्यों चेक किया यार भैया? कि देखो ये भी हो सकता है यार, अभी यहाँ पे आपका a और b ये है, ठीक है, और c इन तीनों पे वैरी करेगा. बट ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि a स्क्वायर प्लस b स्क्वायर इक्वल्स टू c स्क्वायर. ओके, मिल गया तो ठीक है. बट ये भी तो हो सकता था कि ये तीन ट्रिपलेट है. ओके, मैं लिख के दिखा देता हूँ. 3 2 4 6 5, राइट? आपका ए बी सी यहाँ पर है, राइट? अब इसमें पॉसिबिलिटी कि ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर सी स्क्वायर हो जाए, ठीक है, तो आप क्या दोगे? रिटर्न ट्रू. बट ये भी तो पॉसिबिलिटी है कि सी स्क्वायर मतलब बी स्क्वायर प्लस सी स्क्वायर आपका ए स्क्वायर हो जाए, राइट? कोई एक कन्वेंशन तो फिक्स नहीं है कि ए बी सी ऐसे ही होंगे. सी बी ए भी हो सकता है, बी ए सी भी हो सकता है, right? So that is why we have handled those cases using the OR condition. इफ वी हैव फाउंड द कंडीशन रिटर्न ट्रू एल्स फॉल्स। सबमिट करते हैं। सबमिट करने से पहले एक बार टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट देख लेते हैं। सो 10 पावर 5 एंड यू आर यूजिंग n स्क्वायर n क्यूब, सो 10 पावर 15 डेफिनेटली लेस। भाई साहब ये कैसे हो गया? इज डेफिनेटली ग्रेटर देन 10 पावर 8, तो ये सोल्यूशन सबमिट नहीं होना चाहिए था और ये n क्यूब इधर सबमिट हो चुका है। तो आर लॉजिक रिमेन्स इंटैक्ट यार। ज़रूर कोई बात हुई होगी, इन्होंने वो केसेस, ये जो है n को 10 पावर 5 दे रखा है, बट देर आर नन ऑफ द केसेस विच इज एक्चुअली हिटिंग 10 पावर 8 कंडीशन, तब ये कोड सबमिट हो गया, राइट। और नहीं तो GFG कंपाइलर के भाई अपनी कभी कोई प्रॉब्लम्स है, मे बी ये दोपहर तक कुछ अपडेट हो जाए एंड इफ़ यू डू द सबमिशन इन आफ्टरनून मे बी यूल गेट अ TLE ऑन दिस, राइट। ठीक है, तो उसे छोड़ते हैं अभी के लिए। सो वी आंसर दिस अप्रोच ऑफ n क्यूब। नाउ लेट्स अज्यूम विद द मेथड 2। मेथड 2 में हम क्या करेंगे यार, हम एक मैप बनाएंगे, ठीक है। सारी एलिमेंट्स का जो स्क्वायर है हम उसे पुट कर देंगे एंड देन वी विल जस्ट रन फॉर forming all the pairs, that is a square and b square, and we'll check c square in O of 1 from the map, or even you can make हम map ही सही है, map or set array will not work, correct। let us see the method 2। okay, so where's the method 2? okay, so that's the method 2. We have made an hash set, now iterating for each and every element, storing the squares of the element. We have a 2 for loops that is forming all the possible pairs. We are finding the c, right, from all the possible pairs, array of I star I plus array of G star J. If set dot contains C, then definitely we have a triplet exists. Now let us hit the submit button। आप यहाँ से आगे कर सकते हो कि भाई यहाँ पे आपने क्यों नहीं चेक किया, ABC का तो कन्वेंशन था नहीं, आपने खुद बोला था, तो CBA ABC BCA भी हो सकता है, बट हम यहाँ पे पेयर्स फॉर्म कर रहे हैं यार। आप ये भी देखो, हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि 3 2 4 6 5 हम पेयर्स फॉर्म कर रहे हैं। तो आप AB लिखो या BA लिखो, करोगे तो आप दोनों का सम ही, आप इसको कंपेयर कर रहे हो C से। प्रॉब्लम तब होती जब हमारे पास 3 थे BAC। मैं क्या कर सकता था इसमें, मैं BC का सम करके A से कंपेयर करूं, मैं AB का सम करके C से कंपेयर करूं, बट यहाँ BA का क्या होगा, हमेशा BA सम करो AB सम करो, वैल्यू तो आपको X ही मिलने वाली है, एंड यू टू कंपेयर विद द C स्क्वायर, राइट। सो दैट इज वाई हमने वो चीज़ यहाँ नहीं लिखी। ग्रेट, दैट्स द मेथड 2। मेथड 3 पे चलते हैं। 3 सम क्या कहता है यार कि आप क्या करो कि स्टोर द स्क्वायर्स ऑफ एलिमेंट्स। तो हमारे पास एलिमेंट्स कौन कौन थे, एक बार ड्राइवन देख लेते हैं तुरंत से। So we have element 3 2 4 6 5. So we have the element as 3 2 4 6 5. 3 2 4 6 and 5. What is the square? Square would be 9 4 16. I hope that's visible. Yep, 36 and 25. Let me just scroll it up so that my face do not overlaps. Okay, great। अब इसको सॉर्ट करना है आपको, डेफिनेटली 3 सम लगाना है, 2 पॉइंटर लगाना है, तो सॉर्ट करना पड़ेगा। अभी आपको ड्राइंग दिखाते हैं, तुरंत समझ आ जाएगा। सो इट वुड बी 4 9 16 25 एंड 36। नाउ अब यहाँ पर हमें क्या चाहिए यार, आप खुद देखो, हमें चाहिए a स्क्वायर प्लस b स्क्वायर इक्वल्स टू c स्क्वायर, राइट। ये जो c स्क्वायर है डेफिनेटली a और b से बड़ा होगा, तभी ये चीज़ वैलिड होगी, है ना, क्योंकि ऑल द एलिमेंट्स आर पॉजिटिव। तो क्या मैं कह सकता हूँ कि यहाँ पे कन्वेंशन मेरे को पता है ABC का, या तो A B और C ऐसे प्रेजेंट हो, मतलब इसी डायरेक्शन में होगा। ऐसा नहीं होगा कि CAB मिल जाए हमें कहीं, ऐसा नहीं पॉसिबल है, राइट। क्योंकि C जो है वो हमेशा A स्क्वायर B स्क्वायर से बड़ा होगा, C स्क्वायर, राइट। सबसे बड़ा एलिमेंट हमारे पास कहाँ प्रेजेंट है, द मैक्सिमम एलिमेंट इज प्रेजेंट इन दी लास्ट, एट दी लास्ट, क्योंकि हमने सॉर्ट कर रखा है। तो अब हम यहाँ क्या करेंगे कि हम एक 2 पॉइंटर अप्रोच लगाएंगे, राइट। हमारा यहाँ पर I होगा, I विल बी इटरेटिंग फ्रॉम लास्ट एलिमेंट टू फर्स्ट। I को हम लोग स्टार्ट से लास्ट नहीं कर सकते, ये चीज़ काम नहीं करेगी, बिकॉज वी नो द कन्वेंशन कि A B और C के फॉर्म में ही, इस कन्वेंशन में ही आंसर प्रेजेंट है। CBA या BAC हमें नहीं मिलने वाला है, राइट, करेक्ट। अब मैं क्या करूँगा, फॉर दिस आई विल हैव माई पॉइंटर्स, आई विल हैव माई 2 पॉइंटर टेक्निक यूजिंग अ फॉर लूप। तो वो कैसे काम करेगा, मैं इस विंडो में फर्स्ट एलिमेंट को A मानूंगा, सेकेंड लास्ट एलिमेंट को B मानूंगा। अब मैं इसमें सर्च करूंगा कि इफ A प्लस B, व्हाट इज A प्लस B, 29, राइट। आई विल कंपेयर इट विथ 36। मेरे पास सम 29 है, ऑलरेडी इट इज स्क्वायर, राइट। मैं चाहता हूँ A प्लस B C के बराबर हो जाए, बट इट इज ऑलरेडी लेस, दैट मीन्स आई नीड टू इंक्रीज माई सम। अब बताओ यार, इस विंडो में मैं किस पॉइंटर आगे पीछे करूँ जब मैं सम इंक्रीज हो जाए, राइट। अगर मैं A को 1 पॉइंट आगे बढ़ा दूँ तो डेफिनेटली नेक्स्ट टाइम हमारा सम क्या होगा, 25 प्लस 9 विच विल गिव यू 34। Can I say I am getting closer to my target sum? Yes, I can say that. So what is the base condition, that if A plus B equals to C, तो तुम्हारा काम ही हो गया, आप ट्रू रिटर्न कर दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। बट इफ A plus B is lesser than C, then definitely you need to do A plus plus, else C minus minus, राइट? क्योंकि अगर ये सम ग्रेटर हो गया, हमें उसको छोटा करना है, तो डेफिनेटली जो बड़ा नंबर है उसे छोटा करो, बी को पीछे की तरफ मूव करो, करेक्ट? एक बार इसका ड्राइंग कंप्लीट कर लेते हैं. सो 34 इज व्हाट, 36 अगेन ग्रेटर, राइट? तो हम ये को एक और आगे बढ़ाएंगे. नाउ इट वुड बी 25 प्लस 16 कितना होता है यार? 25 प्लस 16, 6 5 11 30 41, 41 and 36. Now my sum is greater. I need to a lower sum to get to my target. तो मैं b को पीछे कर दूंगा. But now you see a and b collides, so we will stop here. So your stopping condition will be while a greater than b. ठीक है? इटरेशन कंप्लीट करते हैं फटाफट यार. नेक्स्ट इटरेशन में क्या होगा? स्क्रीन को थोड़ा सा शिफ्ट करते हैं इस तरफ. तो नेक्स्ट इटरेशन में क्या होगा? योर आई विल बी पॉइंटिंग टू 4 9 16 25 and 36. Your eye would be pointing here, क्योंकि आपने फॉर लूप इस्तेमाल किया है n-2 से लेकर के यहाँ तक जो एक ट्रिपलेट फॉर्म करे, ठीक है? तो 25 पर था. अब मेरी विंडो हो जाएगी कौन सी? अब मेरी विंडो हो जाएगी ये, ठीक है, जिसमें ए होगा ये और बी होगा दिस वन. मैं चाहूँगा टारगेट सम इज सी 25, a plus b is nothing but 20. Now again my sum is lower. I need to get to my target, so I will increase the sum by incrementing a. So now my 16 plus 9, it is 25. Achieve the target sum. We will just stop here. We will say return true, right? तो ये जो ग्रीन लाइन है, जो ग्रीन पॉइंटर जो मूव कर रहा है, इसके लिए हम फॉर लूप कैसे लिखेंगे? हम लिखेंगे फॉर i इक्वल्स टू n-1 टिल i. अब देखो ट्रिपलेट फॉर्म करना है, तो हमारा जो पॉइंटर है इससे आगे नहीं जा सकता, क्योंकि ये इज द मिनिमम साइज ऑफ ट्रिपलेट, राइट? 3 एलिमेंट होना जरूरी है. सो आई विल से i ग्रेटर देन, इसकी इंडेक्स क्या होगी? 0 1 2, correct? So I will just say I greater than equals to 2, I plus plus, no, I minus minus. Yes, ठीक है. तो ये अपना एक for loop यूज करो and try to attach this pseudo code inside the for loop and try to complete this by yourself, right? ठीक है यार. Let me pause the video. Okay, so that's the code. I will not give you a walkthrough again because I already shown you a deep dive for the test cases, right? तो हमने एक फॉर लूप बनाया, हमने सारे स्क्वायर्स को पुश कर दिया. नाउ वी जस्ट नीड टू फाइंड a plus b equals to c, right? We are not concerned with the squares because we have inserted all the elements in their square forms in the given array, right? We have sorted the array to apply the three sum, and that's the for loop running from n-1 to greater than 1, right? That is, it will be running till greater than equals to 2 till second index, right? Now we have a and b. We discussed c is the last pointer, a and b is the window. Now we check, while a less than b, we have the our while loop. If it is equals to c, return true. Else, if the sum is lesser than the target sum, you need to increment your left pointer, that is the starting pointer. Else, you need to decrement your ending pointer, and that's it. Let us compile and run. Yep, so there goes our summation, attempts number 3 for this question as well. ठीक है, तो इसकी डायग्रामिस्टिक क्या हो जाएगी? That we are using first of all sorting it, so it would be n log n, and then we are applying the three sum. So definitely the first for loop we are using, it is O of n, and then we have a while loop which is running for a window, again O of n, so n square. So ignoring the constants, or not ignoring the lower complexities, the worst would be O of n square, right? That's great. So we have completed our 3 approaches. Let us resume with the last one. ठीक है, तो हम इसमें क्या करने वाले हैं? That we will store the squares of the elements in the frequency array, right? So what were the elements we were having? Elements were 3 2 4 6 5. So we will have 3 2 4 6 and 5. What is the square of the elements? It is 9 4 16 36 and 25. What is the maximum in this? What is the maximum? Maximum is 36, right? So we will have a frequency array. We will have a frequency array going from 0 to 36, and we will mark the frequency of all the elements. So here would be 4 9 16 and 25. Frequencies are 1 1 1 1 and 1, right? So we will have a for loop that will be going from I equals to 1 to I less than equals to max, and we'll be finding a candidate for a square. So definitely this index is already set to the squares of the elements, right? So iterating using I itself will be pointing to a square, right? So we will just check that if for the rest of the elements you can see 1 2 3, the values would be 0 because it is not present in our given array elements, right? So I will just add an additional condition here, that if frequency, if frequency of I equals to 0, then that means you do not have the possible candidate as an a square for this uh, I pointer, right? I variable. Okay, so you need to do this thing for a frequency of I not equals to 0. Then only we can say that we have a possibility of the candidate for e square, right? Okay. Okay, so I hope that's visible. I have completed the pseudo code for you. So definitely we have understood this case that if frequency of I equals to 0, then we do not have to do anything. We need to skip, right? So when that is not the case, then we have found our candidate for a square. We need to find the candidate for b square, right? So we'll have the frequency for loop again starting from j equals to I, right? Why j equals to I? So let's say the I is pointing here, right? So this is the first candidate of our a square, right? I can say I is equals to 4. This is a square, right? Now I'm saying that j should be also running from j equals to I and not from 1, because why I'm saying so? Because definitely this is again present in the sorted format, and we know the convention that first we will get a, then b, then c, right? We discussed this in the method 3 approach. So that is why I'm saying that you should start finding your b square candidate from the ith index as well, क्योंकि उसके आगे ही आपको मिलेगा वो b, correct? So that's the for loop there. Now there are some conditions you must be aware of, right? How do you find b, right? First of all, you need to check that frequency should not be 0. Let's say if I started from at this point, then definitely this is a candidate for b square. I need to check it. But let's say, let us just pause this check, and if I go at 5th index, right? So what is the frequency of phi? It is 0. So definitely this is not my candidate, because this itself is not present in my array. So that is the check here, is that if frequency of j equals to 0, then definitely you do not have to do the iterations. So you just skip. Now, when we started from j equals to y, that is, I have considered this 4 as my a square candidate, right? And I'm checking if my this 4 can be candidate for b square. Definitely it could be, but the frequency should be greater than 1, because if the array elements were having 2 4s, right now it has only 1 4, it should be having 2 4, then only I can say that this could be a square and this could be b square. If it is a single element present as 4, then it could not be counted as both a and b. So that is why I'm checking if the values are same. You check if the frequency should be greater than 1. If it is equals to 1, then again skip the iterations, correct? Okay, we have understood this one. Now for rest of the cases, definitely we have a candidate for b square as well. So that's what I have written. We have candidate for b square. We need to evaluate the c square now. C square is nothing but I plus a. Why I plus a? Because the index, if you remember, the index itself was the square of the given elements, right? So if you sum the index, definitely you will be getting the c square. So I have just written int c equals to I plus j. Now what I need to check that if c is present in my frequency array or not, right? Now there would be two cases कि आप जो c निकाले हो सकता है कि वो आपके मैक्सिमम इंडेक्स से ही बाहर चला जाए. Let's say कि this was your a square candidate and this was your b square candidate. If you do 25 plus 16, what is this thing? 11, 41, right? 41 is greater than your maximum index. So you need to check that. Otherwise, you will get a index out of bound error. So that's what I'm checking. That particular c square candidate should be, if it is greater than max, then definitely skip the iterations again. For skip, you will just write continue in the code. And if it is, the frequency of c is greater than 0, definitely you have found a triplet. You just say return true and that's it, right? So that's the entire dry run pseudocode I have showed you now. You are highly encouraged to do some more dry runs if you want to understand it in a more better manner, because that's the case I have explained. You must do dry run by yourself as well. Great, yeah. Let's just pause this video here and try to code this approach by yourself. So let me pause the video. So that's the code here. Let me give you a very quick walkthrough. So what we did, we find the maximum element using a for loop. We square it. Then we made a frequency array of maximum plus 1. So it will be not maximum, it would be just max. Great. What else? We have a frequency array when we increases the frequency of the array element, but it squares, right? अगर आप simply element डालते तो आपका थोड़ा extra work हो जाता. That is why we are just directly put the square elements, right? Now, for all the possibilities of a, we are iterating in the I equals to 1 to I less than max, right? Since we want the iteration in sorted format, right? And in linear, that is why we are using we are iterating in the max in the frequency area. Otherwise you would have iterated in this array as well, but वो sorted नहीं होता यार, right? हमें पता है ABC convention ABC में ही मिलेगा ना, BAC या CAB होगा, right? Again, that's the idea we got from method 3. So if hash of I, we have done this thing, we have again explained how these things are working. So I will just compile and run, and then we will submit this code. Great, all the changes have been done. Let me just scroll it through. So yep, let's just hit the submit button for now. And meanwhile it is submitting, let us see what the time constant is. That we are running a for loop that is to store all the squares of the element in the frequency array. So that will take O of n, right? That will take O of n, and then we have a nested for loop that is running for I less than equals to max. So that is max of a of I square, and the space honesty will be again max a of I square, right? Because we are using a frequency array of that length. So it is again still processing. Okay, so I don't know, it is taking a lot of time to reflect here. So let's just go to the submission tab. Recent submission, it is 2 a.m. 23. So I hope that's the fourth approach. Yeah, that's the fourth approach. So yeah, you can see that it has passed the submission. Let us switch back to the C++ code. So it's the same that we have done in Java, right? And in the dry run. So let's just hit the submit button for the C++ code as well. And do not worry, you will get all the source code in my DSA repository. Oh, that's great. And the DSA repository link will be in my YouTube description. And if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, if it is helping you, please like, share, and subscribe so that we can meet again tomorrow for the next streak. And I have many things plans ahead. I have planned many things for our journey ahead. I'm just waiting for day 400 to complete, and then we will definitely have a new journey, right? Yeah, I will update you on the same. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. Bye bye, and take care, guys.